for granted, or a naval officer takes for granted, that they know what it is they're doing and the professional norms that are encompassed, but there's not a whole lot of reflection about what that is or agreement when you actually move to the kind of professional discourse that one would have, say, in the profession of medicine after Nuremberg or after the Belmont discussions or the Helsinki Code or something. We don't have a sense of the code of the warrior or the profession of arms in the required sense of understanding these are the conflicts that we're going to face, these are the risks that we would be undertaking, not simply to defend the homeland or to be the pointy end of the spear where we kill people and break things until someone orders us to stop doing that. All of that that's the kind of response you get, but that is not adequate. And we haven't done a very good job of replacing those kinds of crude intuitions about military professionalism with very sophisticated ones designed to cope with the kinds of challenges that we then put our men and women in theaters from Libya to Afghanistan to undertake. So this has been touched on by several speakers yesterday and today about the appropriateness of military education and the importance of making sure our fighting men and women know what it is that we expect of them or what they need to be willing to do. But we haven't really developed a framework in which to communicate that effectively and teach that effectively or consistently, even among the armed forces of our own country, let alone among allied forces in NATO and so forth. And that, I think, is how could one conceive of a volunteer giving their consent to perform military service if in the end they really would have no idea what the service is and its risks and responsibilities that we've been discussing these past few days really is. That's like a whole nother area of just war tradition that I think has been neglected. A colleague of mine calls it jus ante bellum, the just preparation for war. And it seems to me the one we have been, we're here to talk about that, and yet we really have no clear idea beyond your intuitive indeterminacy how to carry it out.
Well, just two quick comments on that. One is that I think there's a lot to be learned from the medical ethics education literature. This is case-based, it's professional-based, and there's a lot of literature that's been developed over the last 15 or 20 years in this regard to present cases, to work through cases, to do simulations, and so forth, where it's both principle-based, you work with a very limited set of principles that are not any more determinate and any more specific than some of those we talked about here, but try to apply them in specific instances. So instead, and we've started thinking about this in Israel, so instead of coming to a class of senior officers and lecturing about proportionality or lecturing about discrimination, what they want to hear is cases. This is where these cases come from. They say, how do we work through these cases? So you start to work them through and you draw the principles out that way. So that's one way that could be, I think, very helpful in some cases.
So I think we're done, that we have an idea for a second conference there. And the mention of jus ante bellum invites consideration of a fourth category, jus post. And so we're going to, I think, break for lunch.